I thought I'd make my second sort of book purchases video. This is what I've been reading recently and what I've bought recently. I buy everything that I read basically, just because I don't like returning it. I like keeping it. I don't know why. I'm just kind of obsessed with that material side of it, I guess. I mean, I love the reading too. You know, I just I like having the books. So I prefer to pay for them. I think it's a good investment. So yeah, no. Anyway, I think that a lot of people, there's not that many people that are really interested in watching these videos, I think. But I am interested in making them, so I will. um, I want to talk about the books I read a little bit, and so I'm just gonna jump right in here, and I don't know what order to do this in because there's a lot of different stuff, but it doesn't really matter. Um, yeah. Anyway, this is Franz Kafka. I've read prior to this The Trial and Metamorphosis, and I have put on another one on my wish list for Christmas. Actually, The Castle, I think the English title is. This one is 4 short stories, however, 4 novels. It's called In the Penal Colony and Other Novels. This is in Swedish. The other novels, except for In the Penal Colony, is a letter to his father, I think, something like that. A country doctor, and a hunger artist. Um, 2 of those I really liked. 2 of them I didn't like. So the ones I did like anyway was a hunger artist and In the Penal Colony. Those were really good, I thought. Um, and I mean, I'm not going to talk about them really because there's 4 different ones and it's hard to summarize, and it's Franz Kafka, so it's kind of difficult to say what they're about really, without trying. I don't know, It's there are a lot of there might be a lot of interpretations, and I'm just not going to get into that because I have a lot to get through. But I recommend those 2 that I said that I liked. The other 2, I'm gonna read them again sometime and see if I understand them better, maybe, because they're very short, so one can do that in just one read. But anyway, this is something very different. I think I unboxed this actually, so I have shown it, but it was a long time ago. Now I have read it, however, and it's a Fantastic Orgy by Carlton Mellick III. This is the first sort of bizarro fiction that I have encountered. And it was a fun read, I guess. I mean, some of it was a little ridiculous. He has written, I mean, he's like, I don't know how old he is exactly, but like 35 or something. And he has written this many books already. And others too that have been released after this was printed. So, I guess he doesn't, I don't know. It's just I don't think you should overinterpret these because according to himself, I might actually have been in this book. He said something like, well, he made it clear that you're not supposed to overinterpret. It's just fun stuff. He's just fucking around with the typewriter. It's what he made me feel like. But yeah, that's fine with me. Some stuff, I mean, the stuff in the ocean with the porn actresses or porn actors, I don't remember what it was called. Porno in August, I guess. That's the one. That was kind of fun, and Fantastic Orgy had a nice concept to it, but sometimes it was like almost like a proper porno, and sometimes it was just a little too rushed, I guess. And rushed might be the word when that might be what I was referring to with all of these pointing and all of these. Anyway, it's kind of fun. I might pick up another one someday. I think I probably will, but not anytime soon because I didn't love it. This one I've actually shown as well, but I didn't think that I would finish it so quickly. After I showed it, I think I read it in maybe 1 week or something like that. which is not that quick. I'm just saying. I didn't think that I would get into it that fast or whatever. It's the Marx Brothers Scrapbook. Basically, this is an interview, or Richard J. Anobile. He interviews Groucho Marx mainly, and also like some interviews with, or at least one with Seppo, I think one with Gummo, some other directors, Maury Riskind, for example. I don't know if he was a director, but he worked with the movies. And who else? Like Harry and Maury Gus. That's just two. That's not an interview. Well, there's a lot of different ones. I can't find any others. But mainly it's with Groucho, and then there's a lot of pictures, a lot of sort of, I can show you that, like actual advertisement things from back then that they have put in here. Now I'm having a really hard time finding these things, but like here, I think they put a lot of these ads that they had back when these plays and these movies were running in the 30s, and you can see how it looked like, how it could have looked like walking down the street and seeing an advertisement for the next Marx Brothers performance. So that's kind of cool. I don't know if this is the, yeah, well, you get the idea. Yeah, but this book is in a bad shape. I reckon it probably hasn't been reprinted in a while, but I always find it interesting who has had this book before me. What nasty things have this been subjected to, you know? No, but yeah, it's just kind of fun to think about. It's a cliche, but anyway, I recommend it. Apparently Groucho tried to stop the publication because he says fuck and cunt and everything in this one constantly. Well, it doesn't say cunt constantly, but it does say fuck constantly. And it's kind of surprising because he's pretty old and he swears a lot, you know. Anyway, I enjoyed it a lot, and I think Marx Brothers fans or enthusiasts should definitely pick it up. Wow, I'm talking too much about these because I have a lot left. I guess it just will be a long video for the few who actually want to watch that, but whatever. Buster Keaton, My Wonderful World of Slapstick. Feels like I've shown this before, but I haven't, because then I would have put it on the shelf. So this is his autobiography from early 60s, I think. Very good. It starts out, I don't remember, I lost interest after a while, I think. Then I gained interest, and then that interest was kept until the ending. So it's a very good book, or it's a good book. Parts of it are very good. If you would compare it to like Harpo Speaks by Harpo Marx, which was written around the same time, and it's about practically the same subject. That one is much better because it feels like he covers a much wider area of things, while Buster Keaton, well, I don't know. Harpo Marx just made it more interesting to read about how it was back then. But Buster Keaton did a good job too, and I'm just as big of a fan of Buster Keaton as I am of Harpo Marx or the Marx Brothers. Now I'm not talking about that book I just showed you, but another one that I have up there called Harpo Speaks. So anyway, I recommend it to fans of Buster Keaton, and then I might just get these four sort of out of the way. They're not books, but they're Simpsons Comics, and I unboxed these as well a while back. A lot of fun. I have 6 of them now, so these 4 plus 2 others, and I'm gonna get more of them. I reckon I will eventually have all of them because I really enjoy reading these. I wasn't sure if I would when I got the first one because I've never read comics before, not as an adult or even a teenager anyway. So only as a child. But yeah, I like it a lot. It's The Simpsons, so there's a lot of other comics out there too. But I might get around to others as well sometime. Anyway, this one was outstanding. This is Down and Out in Paris and London by George Orwell, or his actual name, like shit, I forgot now. Something like, well, it doesn't really matter if I say what his name is. You can just look it up, but it is kind of annoying that I'm forgetting. Well, it's basically about his time. This is, I believe, if I understand it correctly, this is the one that he wrote first, tried to get published first, before having published anything else at all. Then it didn't work. He was rejected over and over, so he put it on the shelf for a while. Wrote another book, which I don't know which one that was. Maybe Homage to Catalonia, or I'm not sure. He wrote that, got that published, got back to this, maybe made some changes, and managed to get this published. But anyway, it was the first one that he attempted to write, I think, and I think it's terrific. It's about it's an autobiographical book based on his experience in poverty, first in Paris and then in London, and about half each, I'd say, maybe a little more in Paris. I'm not quite sure. It was difficult to pick which one I thought was more interesting. I really loved reading about him as a dishwasher, or not a dishwasher. Well, he did all kinds of stuff in restaurants, sort of behind the scenes in restaurants where there was. This is, by the way, I could mention when this is taking place. His down and out period. I would say maybe in the 20s, at least, something like that. So you know approximately at around what age or around what time. And he just sort of explained how this is might be a well-known fact already, but I thought it was interesting still, that even the nicest restaurants in Paris back then, behind the scenes there were dirt. You can do that in my room as well, but you could just do this with your finger and there would be dirt, or not dirt but dust, shitloads of it, and there were debris of everything, and there were food in the corners. It smelled. There were just people washed their face in the dishwater. It was just disgusting, and it was fun to read about that, I thought, and basically I'm not going to go through every part. That's just one thing that I really liked reading about, but it's about remembering dealing with poverty, or it's not a sentimental account of poverty really. It's it's just his experiences, and very highly recommended. One thing I thought was interesting is that he says the word fuck in the book, or he writes the word fuck, and I was under the impression that in the 30s, when this was published, you couldn't do that. But maybe you could. So I was like, oh, he writes that word that early. That's interesting. Because the first movie that they said fuck in, I think, was, at least the first Hollywood movie, was like 1967 or something. So that's a long time after. But maybe literature did it much earlier then. Anyway, this one is a little slim volume of. It's The Old Man and the Sea. I thought it was pretty incredible how he could write about. Practically all of this book is about the old man on the sea in his little skiff. Most of the time he has caught a big fish, and he's following it. It's bigger than the skiff itself, and he tries to kill it basically. And I thought it was incredible. Even though it's a short book, it's only 100 pages. Maybe at least 70 pages of those he is on the sea. He manages to just make it seem like, even though 70 pages, one boat on the sea, it feels like he just writes the absolutely most crucial things to the story. I don't know, it's just really well written, and obviously it's a classic. I really enjoyed it, and I kind of plan on getting more Hemingway, actually. This one I won't really talk about that much, because people won't know what it is. well, that doesn't have to be a reason, but it's a Swedish comedian, and I'm thinking maybe people aren't that interested. Robert Gustafsson is his name. This is his autobiography called Från vaggan till deadline, which would translate to From the Cradle to Deadline. It's apparent that he have had a very eventful career, very stressed. He was near death once, if I understood correctly. Maybe he was made it too or a bit more dramatic than it actually was. I don't know, but he probably was lucky to be alive there, because people die from taking sleeping pills, too many sleeping pills. So, and that's pretty much what the thing involved. His near-death experience, if you will. But fans of him who are Swedish, I guess, I recommend it. Then this actually I got for No, did I? No, for my birthday actually. In May, and this is Metro 2033. It's the Swedish title here, but I'm guessing that's the English title too. Metro 2033, and then maybe something else. I sort of went on and off, liking, not liking this book. Like, started reading it, thought it was interesting. Then I started really liking it, really getting into it. Then I started thinking that it was dull and boring, and nothing happened. And then it got interesting again, and I just changed my opinion constantly. But at least about this much in the ending was just boring to me. So in the end, after a while, it didn't change. Unfortunately, it was just, I don't know. I didn't like it that much. I thought it was kind of boring. I mean, now it's a few months ago since I read it, so I don't have a very sort of fresh memory of the book. But the reason I didn't like it was mainly because it's just so incredibly. I mean, it's really random, and everything just. I'm sorry, I can't really explain it. I'll just sit here all day trying to find the right words and expressions. Anyway, I wouldn't recommend it. There's a second one too, so I won't be reading that, I guess. Then Alan Alda, Never Have Your Dog Stuffed. His autobiography. He wrote another one too, which I kind of want to read, even though I didn't think this was great. Still, even if it wasn't great, it was interesting enough. And I didn't know he was such a religious person, such sort of God-fearing or whatever. He seems to be that actually, and especially when he was doing MASH, he appears, obviously it's his character, but he comes off as someone completely different than what his character was, than what the actor was, than what he was himself as a person. And that's common, I guess, but I didn't think that was the case here. I was kind of surprised to read what he felt about certain things, like, oh, I had to do this and I was terrified I couldn't do that. It was too much for me, or I don't know. He didn't strike me as a person like that. But I don't know. Maybe you don't know what I mean, but hard to explain. Anyway, last book is Drama, An Actor's Education by John Lithgow. I have no interest in acting really, so, but I still enjoyed reading this one. Obviously John Lithgow, he has been in, he's famous from being in Dexter recently. He was in A Third Rock from the Sun back in the 90s, and he has also acted in a lot of theater plays, a lot of Shakespeare, for example. His father was a major Shakespeare enthusiast, and well, not only an enthusiast, he was pretty obsessed with him actually, and he arranged festivals for Shakespeare performances and theater performances. back in the day, and John Lithgow grew up with Shakespeare, so he does write a lot about Shakespeare. Nothing I'm interested in at all, I have to say. Still, John Lithgow writes very well, and even though there's not a lot of, I mean, some autobiographies like Buster Keaton, there's a lot of really odd things and stuff that obviously it happened a very long time ago, so things were different back then, which I guess is the main reason, but still, there's a lot of odd occurrences, a lot of stuff that feels like they could belong in a movie of his. This one is a bit more subtle, but he just writes, it's not comedy or anything, so it makes sense, but he writes so well that it is truly an intriguing reading, or an intriguing read, or at least a very interesting read, and rewarding, I guess. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and even if you don't have any plans on becoming an actor, this could, if you like the actor John Lithgow, then I would say check it out. Okay, hopefully this is not too long. No, that's not that bad. 21 minutes. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm not being ironic here. That's okay for me. I mean, sometimes it's been worse. And yeah, okay, that's all for this time. Now I don't have any left. Last time, when I stopped, I still had some books left because I thought the video went on too long. This time I don't have any, so it's gonna take a while before the next video. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, and yeah, let me know what you think about these books, if you've read them, or if you intend to, or if you have any recommendations of similar books, maybe. Anyway, see you in the next video.